Hey traders, just wanted to look at Litecoin today. Why not? Just to give an update. First off, right now we're just looking at Coinbase chart, 4-hour log scale with anchor points 1 and 2 and 3 on the bottom, just 1 on the top. When you plot it like that, there's just so many beautiful touches everywhere. The confirmation you get within is ridiculous. Okay, it's great. All right, so heartline, heartline, heartline. You see it everywhere, touching. And now where are we? We are at the literal bottom of the channel, the log scale channel. And we're really trying to hold on desperately to a critical support. All right, big deal. That's where we are. So it's been a very, very nice ride up. We've retraced, I believe, 50% of the way, maybe. Or no, really, hold on. I have to get out of log scale for a sec to just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's like from your all-time highs to low. Think about this, man. On Litecoin, you haven't even retraced 38% of the way. I was thinking about another fib node, right? Where I fibbed, but like from the all-time highs, man, not even close. Okay, so we know like in time, if Bitcoin held up, which we don't know, because it really has everything to do with Bitcoin, man. And guess what? In about a month, the halving's happening, right, on Litecoin, and maybe we had a price run up beforehand. And I know in the past, the history for Litecoin has been when the halving happens, leading up to it, lots of growth. Okay, so going from $22 to $145, pretty big deal. Okay, so so much that we have to look at this in log scale if we're going to look at the trend, because it's just exponential growth. But once the halving happens, based on history, we sell off pretty hard for a while, and then eventually you make a higher low than your previous low wherever it is, and then you run again and go on a nice bull run. So will be interesting to see how, that's history though, right? That doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future for Litecoin. Litecoin could keep running or it could get destroyed. Okay, it all depends on really the macro, which is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going to be affected by really, I mean, in a lot of ways you could think about if there's market stability, like we saw with, the G20. All tensions are starting to cool a little bit. President Trump walked across the DMZ. Stock market took kindly to that, and all-time highs on the S&P 500 again today. And so when you start seeing financial uncertainty around the world start getting better, right? When things are smoothing out, cooling off, then hedges against the U.S. dollar and uncertainty will drop, which Bitcoin did drop from that, even though we know a lot of it was probably technical. Hit the golden retrace from all-time highs, and we've just been selling off ever since. We got as high as like 13,886 or whatever, and now we're at 11,336. But we got as low on Bitcoin as 9,650 or so. So I think it's not just for, we're talking about Litecoin, of course, but we're talking about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin affects the living crap out of Litecoin. But huge events around the world of uncertainty can affect Bitcoin. And so like you have to look at it like that. Like it starts with Litecoin, but Litecoin's affected by Bitcoin. Bitcoin's affected by world events that are going on, all right, in the financial sector. All right, so it's not just like what's Litecoin going to do. And that's why I'm saying all this, because you have to, in analyzing altcoins, you have to analyze the things that affect the altcoins, right? So for instance, here we go. We're going to go zoomed in, another chart, get off log scale. And we know the trend's extremely bullish. We know Litecoin is forming some sort of potential double bottom, where from the previous low to high at the 62% retrace, which is the golden retrace. Very good. All right. And with me saying all that, every, event is special. It's unique. Okay. So though we think that maybe we have some coinciding variables that give us an edge in this market for this potential trade, anything can happen, right? We can't expect it to want to go higher, because if we expect it to go higher and it doesn't, then we'll develop some sort of negative emotion behind a potential double bottom with Class B bullish divergence on both oscillators. No, we do not expect it to go higher, but what we would do is we would be willing to pay a price, right? And that's where, as long as, as far as you go down and you get stopped out at like 110, 111, right? We're willing to pay that price in these areas to potentially see if the trade could play out. And that's the mentality one must have. All right, so if things continue looking well for the world and stuff, with all this going on, trade tensions cooling off and Bitcoin, maybe going to make a lower high. You would think, look, the thing with Bitcoin and really Litecoin, or for Litecoin to have a double bottom that's going to play out, Bitcoin has to make higher highs. And right now, Bitcoin is, stuck. Give me a sec. Let me just, I need to get more buttons for my Stream Deck set up for this. Hold on, where's my other screen? Right, so Bitcoin has to make a higher high, right? Eventually, Bitcoin has to break 12,405. Because right now, we very well could, there's something called falling three peaks, that we could be developing a bearish pattern. Classic distribution going on with lower lows, 2 valleys, and 3 peaks. That's like what signifies that pattern. So you gotta believe that Litecoin will never play out if Bitcoin wants to sell off here and then break this support. This is the critical support, 96.93 for this potential pattern. All right, you go down there and you break that. Well, look out, Litecoin screwed. Okay, so really just trying to show y'all that. Oops, give me a sec. Where are we at? I'm trying to turn this off. Just trying to show you that, like, because if a trade, like a potential trade fails, you can't be upset about it because it's going to affect your next trades. Okay, and so that mentality is very important. So Litecoin, extremely bullish conditions, right? Happening in a month. Potential double bottom at the bottom of a log scale uptrend, right? That we have been in since like December. Bullish divergence on both, oscillators. All these good things going on, but there's always a chance it can fail because every unique is special. Every event is unique and special. And so here, again, you're paying to see if the trade would play out. You don't expect it to play out, all right? So the double bottom, if it was to become valid, it would have to break above eventually $137. If it did that, you could go all the way up to 161 for a measure move, and that would be 52-week highs, and then it would make sense, right, why it happened. Where are we at? It would make sense why it happened because look where we are. We're at the bottom of the log scale uptrend, and we're holding on to critical support. You do not want to fall below that, man. All right, so there are multiple reasons why it could play out, but then we just talked about also with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin doesn't want to make higher highs, there's no way Litecoin's uptrend can continue. Like, that's the way it's been. So Bitcoin really needs to break 12,405. By the time you get to 12,405 and you're testing it, I think Litecoin's going to be much higher, which is good, but I don't think you're going to be at any kind of pattern completion where you break out of 137 and you hit like 160 or whatever the measure move is. So just wanted to kind of go over Litecoin, but wanted to go over Litecoin, wanted to go over the potential pattern on Litecoin, wanted to show you where we are in the huge uptrend we've been in for a long time, for the whole year, but also wanted to talk about why this might fail, why it could fail, but we also know what can happen if Bitcoin breaks the upside. This could be very favorable and could be an awesome trade setup, right? So all about probabilities, not certainties. Just because one potential beautiful looking double bottom with coinciding variables fails doesn't mean one should be upset about it or become emotionally attached to it. Again, expectations will make you become emotionally involved with something, right? So we don't want that as traders, all right? So just wanted to give a quick update on Litecoin, just talk about everything a little bit, like whatever, man. It's just kind of like it's a vlog, man. It's not just Litecoin, because if it's just Litecoin, I think that's naive to say, because it's so much more than just Litecoin involved, right? Litecoin isn't the only thing involved with Litecoin price action, right? It has a lot to do with the rest of the macro. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, that bell, that sub. I'll be live in a little while. Hope y'all are getting ready for 4th of July. It's going to be a good one, man. So until next time, respect the TA.